Folks, as we've been telling you, the government is going to shut down if the Democrats have their way. Let's bring in the only conservative senator in the great state of Texas, Ted Cruz. Sir, welcome back to the Chris Salcedo Show. Chuck Schumer claiming the majority didn't consult the minority, and that's why he's shutting the government down. You were in the minority under Chuck Schumer. How many times did he and his leftists consult you or real Republicans when Democrats were pushing their massive inflation-causing overspending bills?
Well, sadly, the way you can know that a Democrat is not telling the truth is their lips are moving. In this case, the Republicans consulted with the Democrats at great length, and the Democrats insisted the only way they'd be willing to fund the government is if we agreed to major restriction tying President Trump's hands. Obviously, we're not going to do that, and so right now, the Democrats have a choice. House Republicans have voted to fund the government through September 30th, and the Senate Republicans are going to vote to fund the government. But in order for it to pass, it needs 60 votes in the Senate. There are only 53 Republicans. That means we need at least 7 Democrats. And Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, if they want to, they can force a government shutdown. They are right now just angry, Chris. It's amazing. I've never seen the Democrat Party so rudderless, so just... Today's Democrat Party is characterized by 2 things: rage and hate. They're angry at the voters, and they hate Donald Trump. And so we may see Schumer and the Democrats force a shutdown for some period of time. I actually don't think they will. I think they're going to buckle. I think they're going to fold. But either way, right now, the Democrats are huddled in a room screaming at each other because they don't know what to do.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Democrats. I think they hate President Trump more than they love this country, but time will tell.
Yes.
Senator, I want to come
Amen.
back to the Democrats in a second, but you posted something on X I wanted to ask your opinion on. Student visas, you wrote, and green cards are privileges, not entitlements. Foreign students benefiting from taxpayer-funded education in America must uphold our values. If they engage in or promote violence, we have every right to revoke their visas and remove them from our country, end quote. You know, the law breaking aside here, every green card holder is expected to conduct him or herself in a particular manner in this country. And the Secretary of State and President have wide latitude under our laws to expel aliens. Walk us through how you see Mr. Khalil and how this is all going to play out over the coming days and weeks.
Listen, I am very glad that President Trump is following through on his commitments to protect all Americans, to protect Jewish students on campuses, and to stand up to anti-Semitism and violent anti-American hate. We saw in the wake of October 7th, college campuses consumed by radical leftists, pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic protests. And we saw, tragically, we saw college administrators, college faculties, and Democrat politicians acquiescing to these threats of violence, acquiescing to these horrible anti-Semitic protests. And, you know, throughout the Biden administration, they took no action. There was no investigation by the Department of Justice. They didn't follow the money as to who was funding these horrible protests. They didn't arrest, they didn't deport the people engaged in acts of violence. You take Columbia University, which may have been the worst place in the whole country for this. Columbia University, the Orthodox rabbi on campus, sent an email to all the Jewish students on campus saying, stay home, do not come to class because the university cannot and will not protect your safety. Now, that is grotesque. A university has an obligation to protect the safety of every student. But not only is it grotesque, it's a violation of American civil rights law. And under Title VI of civil rights law, you're not allowed to say we're not going to protect Jewish kids because we're a bunch of Marxist leftists running the university. Well, what Donald Trump has done, number one, is canceled $400 million of grants to Columbia. I think that is excellent. And number two, he started with this one radical who helped organize these protests. You're going to see more who are foreign students, and I think they should be arrested and they should be deported. If you're a foreign student, if you're engaged in acts of violence, if you're threatening violence against other students, you should be sent back to the country you're coming from.
You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.